Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is everyone comfortable?
Yes.
If you are not, there is nothing we can do about it. Try and be comfortable. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The most prominent quality of a good person is that they always try and magnify whatever goodness is there in others, and they try to minimize or overlook if there are any shortcomings. And just the opposite is the quality of somebody who has ulterior motives. So the devotees in Calgary are all good people. Therefore, anyone who comes here, any visitor, including me, they feel very good about themselves. So you know how down south, the leader of the countries, the ratings sometimes go up and down for him. The popularity. So whenever I feel that my ratings are going down, I decide to come to Calgary. And it inspires me a lot. So thank you very much for being such a kind congregation. The dedication and the mood of service that all of you carry within your hearts is exemplary. And our prayer is that all of us can go on serving Krishna and Krishna's devotees in this mood for eternity's sake. That was the most unprepared introduction of my speech. of my presentation. So if anyone felt awkward, I am so sorry. But it is true. It is always a great pleasure to be back here. Feels like home. Sometimes it is a little windy. I mean the weather. This is such a beautiful place and all of you are such wonderful people. So today we would like to glorify all of you and express our gratitude to each one of you by putting our hands together and giving you a big round of applause. I did say a big round of applause. That wasn't big. Thank you. So Krishna consciousness is a philosophy, it is a process where one realizes that it is much more fun to be serving Krishna's spirit soul than trying to enjoy our senses in the outside world. I know of so many devotees that got attracted to Krishna consciousness because it was fun. A couple of devotees, they initially started coming to our temple in Mumbai just by chance. You know how sometimes the creation of the world is, the theory towards the creation of the world appears to be like by chance. So these devotees actually they happened to be at the temple by chance. What happened was, near our temple in Mumbai, Shri Radha Gopinath temple, we have Kshetrapal, Shri Shivji, Mahadev, Lord Shiva. He has been there since hundreds of years. He's called Babulnath Mahadev. For those of you who are devotees of Lord Ram, I would like to tell you that our Mumbai is also a holy place for Lord Ram. We have a Ban Ganga there. As usual, somebody was thirsty in the Ramayana. When you're in the forest, you get thirsty and you cannot call up somebody on the phone and tell them that I order a crate of diet water. So Lakshmanji has to do some work. So Lord Lakshman, he took an arrow and he released the Ganges from the nether worlds. She appeared. So Lord Shiva is there. He is always there. So these devotees had come in the month of Shravan, the first month of, rather the second month of Chaturmas. And the month of Shravan is very much dedicated to visiting the temple of Lord Shiva. So it was a Sunday, they were fasting, they did their worship of Lord Shiva at Babulnath, and the ritual was over. So now they were wondering, where should we get langar? Prasad. So they asked the devotees around, but that day there was no prasad service at the Shiva temple, no food distribution there. But somebody informed them there is a Hare Krishna temple. Now Over the years, the Hare Krishna temple has become famous for its free prasadam distribution. Even big celebrities who are vegetarians, when they travel over the world, they look for a Hare Krishna temple. Cricket stars in India, traveling the world, they have made statements that wherever we go in the world to play our matches, I try to find out if there is a ISKCON temple close by, because I'm sure I'll get pure vegetarian food there, and it is prasad too. So these devotees, they just
close the window. No, it is it's turned on. You just close the window.
AC starts.
Left side. Left. Close.
That's amazing. For a moment, I felt I was giving Katha in India. It felt very much like home. Now it is a little alien. So, they came for prasad. And when they arrived for prasad, they were told, prasadam is at a later time. The first reaction was, ये आपका कैसा टेम्पल है, दोपहर में प्रसाद नहीं देते आप? They had come in at 12:30. But at our temple we have a program from 12:30 onwards. And prasadam is served after the lecture and kirtan around 2:30 in the afternoon. So any guesses what did they do?
Waited.
Govinda wasn't open then. We specifically opened Govinda's a little later on. So what did they do?
Listen to the class.
So close to our temple is right on the beach. I mean, many a times when people hear that, they are like, you're so fortunate, you must be visiting the beach every day. So I would say, no, that was not me. That was Srila Prabhupada taking his morning walk every day at Juhu Beach.
Yeah.
We practically have not seen the beach for ages. Except maybe when occasionally once a year we go on Harinam. But it is right next to the beach. And this beach is very famous. Bollywood made this beach quite famous. Chaupati jayenge, bhel puri khayenge. So our friends who had come to the temple, they went to the beach. And sharp at 2:30 they were back. And then they were told, there is a line. And they were really not happy with that. But India being India, there is this feeling that once you have accepted within your mind that you are going to accept the Lord's remnants, then it feels sacrilegious to not do that. And that is typical India. एक बार मन ने मान लिया ना बात, कुछ भी हो जाए करना है. So they decided to wait in the line. They took up their position in the prasadam line. And finally they got prasad. They liked the prasad. So next Sunday, they were back again. prior to leaving the previous Sunday, they made an inquiry. When does the line start forming? So they would come to Lord Shiva's temple, worship Lord Shiva, go to Chowpatty beach, and come in time to be the first in line. And then they got the prasad. They did have to wait for half an hour, but then they got prasad. The next week, which was the end of Shravan, the last Sunday of Shravan, they came with their entire family. But their family showed up at 2:30. They were already in line before that, and as soon as their family came, they said, "Ye bhi line mein hamare saath." So the entire family took prasad. Having done it for Shravan, somehow they felt that if they do not continue this pious activity, they would get severe reactions. So for the next 6 months, they would come in the afternoon. If they were a little early, they would go to Chowpatty beach. And right when the prasadam line would start forming, they were there. After 6 months of taking prasad, they realized that there is a temple. And they felt very guilty. They had this guilt consciousness. We have been taking prasad of the Lord and we haven't taken His darshan, seen His form, His deity form. So they went to the temple. But then they realized the temple hall is full. So then they asked, what kind of temple is this that so many people visit? And why don't they just take darshan and move out? So they were informed, no, this is special program on Sundays. Acha, so this happens only on Sundays? Yes. And on other days, how much time does it take to have darshan? Oh, on other days, you can just walk in, have darshan, and you could leave. So now their ritual became that they would visit the temple on Sundays to have prasad, and the next day, Monday, they would come for darshan. This happened for almost a year. This was in the late 90s actually, previous century. Then somebody asked them that you come every Monday a year. Would you like to volunteer for some services? Now, having eaten prasad for a year, they felt indebted to volunteer some service. So they said, depends on what service is there. So the devotee asked them, would you like to clean the temple hall? They said, okay. So they mopped up the temple hall. The next Monday, they were careful not to be in sight of that devotee. When they visited the temple, they looked around, is that devotee there? जो काम करवाता है. The one who makes us work. and not finding that devotee, then they would like run in, take darshan and run out. A few weeks, this entire story is, it lasts about 2.5 years. It took them 2.5 years to realize we wasted our time simply coming to the temple and accepting prasad when we could have heard about the beautiful pastimes of Krishna. So one Sunday when they arrived and they were in line, they were served Ekadashi prasad. What is this? उनको लगा कि मंदिर में गरीबी आ गई है. Temple doesn't have funds anymore. What is this? This is Ekadashi prasad. What is Ekadashi prasad? You don't know Ekadashi? You know how sometimes when people do not know some basic things, we look upon them as if they are Mahapapi log hai. Sometimes, have you experienced that, like, इस दुनिया को क्या आप हो है, इंसान ही हो ना? You don't know what is Ekadashi. They felt so terrible. They said, oh no, we forgot. We know what is Ekadashi. Please give us Ekadashi prasad. Later on, they asked their friends, what is Ekadashi? Their friends are like, किसी picture का नाम है? What is Ekadashi? We have no idea what is Ekadashi. They couldn't ask their parents because they would never ask anything of their parents. उनसे कौन पूछेगा? So now they were in a fix. कि भैया ये कितने समय तक एकादशी चलेगा? The next time when we go to the temple, would it be Ekadashi again? So the next Sunday when they were at the temple, they got regular prasad. They were relieved. Then they looked around at the gentleman who was with them in the line and they said, last time there was Ekadashi prasad. Oh, it was so nice. It was so tasty. Today there is no Ekadashi prasad. And the gentleman said, no, because today is not Ekadashi. Ah, yes. Today is not Ekadashi. Come on. So when is Ekadashi? Next week. Okay. So next Sunday they are there and they get regular prasad. And they are like, today is Ekadashi prasad, hai na? And the person who was serving prasad said, no, Ekadashi was yesterday, Saturday. What is Ekadashi? Sometimes it is on a Sunday, sometimes it is on a Saturday. So they were so curious to understand what is this. They finally said, we need to ask someone. Let us ask that person that makes us work in the temple. So they went up to that devotee. And they asked him, what is Ekadashi? So he informed them. And then they realized, oh. So Ekadashi is the day of Lord Vishnu. Now for those who are very much interested in Karma Kand, when they hear of special days, they really become interested. What should we do on Ekadashi? Oh, you can chant extra rounds. Oh yeah. Obviously, that's what we have to do. Chant extra rounds. They looked at each other. What are rounds? What are rounds? But how could they express their ignorance, right? They cannot express their ignorance. So, obviously. So, how many many extra rounds should we chant? Well, you can chant 25 rounds. Bas, okay, 25 rounds. That's simple enough. प्रभु जी वो करते कैसे हैं? How you do it on your beads? I mean, the devotee thought that they, yeah, he told them that you do it on your beads. Then they realized that the people that are walking around with that thing around their hand, that is not because they have had some mishap with their hand. It is not some kind of a tourniquet or something like that. Japamala, it is Gomukhi, okay, read that. Ekadashi, let us do 25 rounds. So they go home and they look around and they find some beads in their house. So they pick it up. But now there is another problem. Is Ekadashi on Sunday or Saturday? So the next Saturday they ask our devotee, Saturday, no? So today must be Ekadashi. The devotee says, no, we had Ekadashi last week. Acha. So when is Ekadashi? Then tomorrow, Sunday? They said, no, Ekadashi comes once in 15 days. Just once in 15 days. Perfect. This works. So once in 15 days, I just have to chant 25 rounds. So they started chanting 25 rounds on Ekadashi. So next Saturday, which is again Ekadashi, they come up to our devotee and they say, we chanted 25 rounds. Wonderful. So the devotee suggested, well, I have some time now. Would you like to give me some company and sit down and chant with me? 25? Oh, he said, whatever you can. You must have done your rounds already. Like you must be devotees. Sometimes we just expect others to be devotees when they kind of speak devotee lingo, devotee language. Yeah, so, you must be devotees already. So just one round is enough. They said, all right. So a devotee sits down and starts chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So all they could hear was Krishna, Ram, Hare. They couldn't decipher the code, whatever it was. But they thought that, okay, this person is doing his rounds, we'll do our rounds. So they took out their ways and they went, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So that is what they chanted for Ekadashi. So a devotee looked at them and said, oh, you're devotees of Lord Shiva. I said, yes. And you know how we are eager to bring every devotee of Lord Shiva to Lord Krishna? आपको पता है Lord Shiva, whose name does he chant when he's in meditation? Lord Ram's name. And do you know what is said in the Vishnu Sahasranam about Lord Ram's name? That the benefit of chanting 3 names of Lord Ram is equivalent to the benefit of chanting 1 name of Lord Krishna. You speak to someone who is into karma kand, you tell them about benefits, they kind of grow a few more years. They're so eager to hear. Acha! 1 name of Krishna gives benefit. So they said, this is what we are going to do. We're just going to say Krishna, 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 Krishna. And the devotee said, no, you can do Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. But Ram only 1 benefit. So in your mantra, those 3 Rams is equal to 1 Krishna. So why don't I just say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? So then a devotee explained to them what is a mantra and what is a bona fide mantra and how we cannot make up mantras on our own. And slowly they started realizing that this is so very logical. For 20 odd years of their life, they thought that visiting the temple was simply spiritual tourism. So now they realize that actually there is logic behind this. It is a process. And being intelligent boys, immediately they wanted to know what more was there to learn. फिर तो भैया पूरा मतलब जो चार आपके नियम 16 माला जब सब सुना दिया हमको. You know, everything was told to them. All the principles about Krishna consciousness. And they took it up seriously. Then they started serving prasadam to others. Then they would come and participate in cooking bhoga on Sunday for at least 2,000 to 3,000 people. Then they became inspired to seek shelter of a guru, a spiritual master. Then they were inspired to have deities at their homes. And since their entire career in Krishna consciousness began with prasad, they welcomed Lord Jagannath. And then they started involving their community. Today, this community of devotees arranges for one of the biggest Rath Yatras in Mumbai. That we have at Dadar. The ground, the park where we have the Rath Yatra, that park is open to only 2 festivals, 2 social functions in a year by law. Shivaji Park. And these devotees, they got permission from the Supreme Court of India to have a yearly Jagannath Rath Yatra festival at this park.
Very good.
This is how Krishna is amazing. This is how Lord Jagannath is amazing. I have no idea why I kind of jumped into that story. It was extempore. Maybe it is to do with the prasad that I had today afternoon. But it is such a beautiful story. And there are so many devotees who have so many wonderful stories to narrate. Because every devotee has a special journey in their spiritual life. Every single devotee has a special journey. And they have their realizations. There is a family that I visit and very fortunate to be close to. They have 2 sons, just 2 years apart. When these children, they were born in Krishna consciousness, so they did not have any other option. Practically, along with the nourishment that they got from their parents, Mangala Aarti at the temple and Sunday programs nourish their consciousness. They were at the festivals, they would attend the Sunday school program. So I was visiting them. And that day, their mother had made cookies, and they really loved cookies. Both of them. So as soon as the batch of cookies was out of the oven, they were like, please offer offer it fast. Please offer it fast. God and Nitai are so hungry. You see, when you grow up in Krishna consciousness, you don't have any options. You cannot even say, oh, the cookies are out of the oven, can I have it? No. You're trained to like force God Nitai. Who owns the house? God Nitai. Who owns the oven? God Nitai. Whom do the cookies belong to? God Nitai. And what are you going to do? Ask them to eat fast. Petition them. It's fun. It's fun growing up in a Krishna conscious family. All the acharyas, they're with their hearts in motion, very feelingly, they pray to Krishna, please Krishna, we beg you to give us your mercy. है ना, सारे आचार्य गिड़गिड़ाते हैं भगवान के सामने. And the children that grow up in Krishna consciousness, by default, they learn how to petition the Lord from the very first day. Please Gauranitai. Please Krishna. Convince mom or dad that we can watch TV. For everything, every single thing, they approach Gauranitai. So practically they are acharyas since their early childhood. They have the mood. Please offer that to Gauranitai fast. So their mother offered it to Gauranitai. And once the offering came back, it was on the table to be served. The Kurukshetra war started. Two brothers, they went against each other. I will have these many cookies and you can have only those many. And their mother had learned long back not to play Krishna in this war. So she had stopped playing Krishna. Like, you know this, you know that. But that was when I was visiting. So I'm supposed to be having better intelligence, isn't it? So I did what I'm good at. Advise people, especially when it is not needed. So I offered an advice to these two children. I said, oh, you two brothers are just like Krishna and Balaram. What would Krishna have done? And then I realized this is not the right way to present this. So I said, what would Balaram have done to the oldest one, the eldest child? I said, what would Balaram have done if Mother Yashoda had given him cookies to be shared with Krishna? And the eldest one, he looked at me as if, who are you? And the younger one was too young to come up with an answer. She's like, Prabhuji, what is the answer? And the elder one was not volunteering an answer. So I said, Balaram would let Krishna have whatever he wanted to have, as many as he wanted to have. And the younger one goes, Haribo! And the older one is kind of thinking, scratching his chin like that, his face. He says, He looks at his brother and says, "Today you get to be Balaram." I get to be Krishna. Because every time when they were at play, the elder one would always say, Balaram, Krishna would always listen to the elder brother. Today is like, I'm being very magnanimous today. You get to be Balaram. The reason I brought up that story is, the first story, it pulls at the strings of our heart. It's like, oh yes, that's amazing. It's such an amazing journey that is so inspirational. And the second story helps us find humor in Krishna consciousness. The first story is something similar to a very worshipable object that we put on a high pedestal, and we worship it from such a distance that we lose kind of sight of it. It's like, it's so pure, it's so good. Maybe someday I will come up to that level of worship, to that position. The second story is what feels to be our life history. अगर फायदा हो रहा है कहीं पर तो क्यों ना फायदा करवा लेना. If somebody tells us, for you I have kept a special plate of Mahaprasad, you're like, you're my best friend. Why is that? Or is it not correct to have aspirations in Krishna consciousness, to be just a regular person? Do we always have to be like these picture perfect saintly personalities? Or is there some scope for being a regular person also? Are devotees in Krishna consciousness regular people or not?
Yes.
So is there any scope? Is there any hope for us to be regular devotees where we can have an extra plate of Mahaprasadam kept for us aside? Is that all right? The whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is, the practice of Krishna consciousness is to reawaken a dormant consciousness towards Krishna. And what is a dormant consciousness towards Krishna? We just love to serve Krishna. We just love it. We can't help. It's just our nature. It is our passion. Somehow we have forgotten our original position as part and parcel of Krishna. Somehow we've forgotten that. And every time the alarm rings, the alarm bell sounds, reminding us that we are part and parcel of Krishna, we hit the snooze button. Yes? Have we had that experience? You know, like, does it ever make sense? Just think about it. What are alarm bells for? An alarm clock is, what purpose does it serve?
Wake you up.
Wake you up, correct?
Yeah.
It is meant to do that, isn't it? if it is meant for that purpose that it wakes you up, it kind of, reminds you that you have to wake up, why give a snooze button? It's like saying that, hey, I want to wake you up, but I'm feeling a little bad about it, I don't really want to wake you up. Come on, an alarm clock is meant to wake you up. It's meant to get you out of bed. Why have a snooze button along with it?
Disturb you sleep so that others don't wake up.
Others don't wake up, so now we are going to disturb them twice. First with the original attempt, and then after the snooze, time is over. Sorry, we did not want to disturb you, therefore we pushed the snooze button. Now it's going to ring again after 5 minutes.
Somebody alarm that. Somebody alarm.
It's true.
So funny. Snooze button is there?
So that kind of defines how sometimes we behave in a practices of Krishna consciousness. Whenever it is time to wake up, we push the snooze button. I'm not in the mood to be active right now. Let me push the snooze button. Become a little passive. Wait for another day. अच्छा मुहूर्त के लिए. Auspicious time. This is procrastination. Making excuses. Why? Because we still feel that a true nature is not exactly our true nature. We still are not convinced that Krishna could be so attractive. Once when the cowherd boys, they went with Krishna into the pasturing grounds. They were having fun. Suddenly, they had the desire to eat fruits. And when they had the desire to eat fruits, they realized, if we have the desire, then Krishna must also be feeling a similar desire. So how do we serve Krishna? So they turned towards Krishna and they said, Krishna, there's this beautiful talo forest here. We are very hungry. Could you please do something to let us have those fruits? And Krishna immediately went into the forest, and he and Balaram, they shook the trees till the ripened fruits fell down to the ground. Krishna is so wonderful. Krishna doesn't have to call for his driver and says, hey, come on, pile on and let's go to Walmart, let's go to farmer's market and get fruits. He immediately gets fruits from the trees for his friends. His friends, when they bring him into the forest, in the early morning they are accompanying Krishna into the forest, they look at Krishna and they're like, we don't like your appearance. What is this crown that you are wearing and all these earrings? Trying to show off Krishna. And Krishna is concerned. So he says, what do you want me to do? Because we don't know what you want. What would you want? You do whatever you want, whatever is in your heart, but you really don't look very good today. So Krishna says, all right, here I take off all of my ornaments. Krishna removes all of his ornaments. And then his friends look at him and say, yeah, this is better. But you know what? Just wait a second. And they run into the forest and they bring flowers and twigs and leaves and minerals. And they come and decorate Krishna. And that is how from Yashoda Nandan he becomes Vanamali. He becomes the lord of the forest. His friends decorate him. And now his friends are very happy. And occasionally Krishna forgets to change back. And he reaches home. And his mother looks at him and she says, just look at you! Who would marry their daughter to you? That is her concern. Mother Yashoda's concern. You have to have some cultural background of growing up in India and those parts. As soon as a son is born, I mean not now, today it's different. As soon as a child is born, they start thinking of which reality show can we put this child in. But in the days of the past, like just a century back, as soon as a child is born, everyone is like, oh, इसके लिए बहू देखना शुरू कर दो. That is their life's ambition. And Mother Yashoda, like a doting mother, is like, Lala, what are the neighbors going to say? You are the son of Maharaj Nanda, the son of a king. And Krishna is like, you don't really have to rub it in, you know. I know I'm the son of a king. Where are your ornaments? Oops. Krishna realizes right then that he has no idea where his ornaments are. So he looks around and his friends are like, no, Mother Yashoda. They try to help him out of that situation. So Krishna, he is so giving. He is the Lord of the universe. Unlimited planets, stars, universes simply come out of the pores of the body of the expansion of his expansion. But he does not have any pride about it. He is not like, once Mother Yashoda was not happy with Krishna. So Mother Yashoda was trying to correct him. Lala, what is this? I told you umpteen number of times. Why doesn't good advice enter your head? Why don't you realize what is the right thing to do? And she's really putting it on, like really. And then Krishna is like, okay. He's being very humble. So Balaram ji suddenly feels very much enthused to defend Krishna. So Balaram ji, he comes up to Mother Yashoda a little later on. Because right then even Balaram ji understands this is not the right time to intervene, otherwise the cannon, the mouth of the cannon could be towards you. It could be firing towards you. So he keeps quiet. But later he feels it is his responsibility to educate Mother Yashoda. So he goes up to Mother Yashoda and she tells Mother Yashoda, Maiya, do you even know who Kanhaiya is? Maiya, her first response is, Beta, tu to kavita karne laga? Maiya Kanhaiya? I mean, that's poetry. She's like, Rohini, come hear this. He's like, Maiya, be serious. Okay, I'm serious. Do you even know who Krishna is, who Kanhaiya is? She's like, okay, let's say I don't know who Krishna is. Krishna is God. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the other expansions, all the other incarnations, they come from Him. Mother Yashoda says, He is God. And Balaram is really he's really trying to explain it to Mother Yashoda. She says, yes. If you have confusion, you should go to the Hare Krishna temple. They have a nice program. Explain how Krishna is the God of all gods. He did not say that, sorry. That was a diversion. He is. Hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis serve Him. In fact, all of the other incarnations, they are simply serving Him. The demigods, all 33 crores of demigods, they worship Him as their master. And Mother Yashoda, this is really shocking for her. Like, she has never heard numbers like that. Thousands, crores. She's a simple lady, but she realizes these are huge numbers. She becomes very sober. And she says, so, this Krishna, you are saying this my son, is the source of all the demigods, they all worship Him, the other incarnations, they serve Him. So if He is God, who are you? So Mother Yashoda, Balaram says, I am His first expansion. I am the Sandhini potency. I am the original spiritual master. Mother Yashoda says, just wait. She goes into the kitchen and she brings the rolling pin, the balan. He is God. You are His first expansion. I am going to really hit you all so hard. What was the necessity for all the incarnations to be born in my house? सारे देवता ने मेरे घर में जन्म लेना था. अभी बताती हूँ. And as soon as he saw the rolling pin, Balaram is like, Krishna, we may be the Supreme Personality of Godheads. She is our mom. She's got veto power here right now. She is our mom. She is our mother. And we are sorry. I was just making up things. Please, where is the roti? So once Srila Prabhupada, he was giving a lecture. And after his presentation, someone in the audience, he just got up and he said, Swami, I think I am God. I think we are all gods. The others are afraid to speak up. They are in ignorance, so they are ignorance gods. I am God in knowledge. So I am God. Prabhupada looked at him and he said, "Tum Bhagwan ho. भगवान क्यों बनना चाहते हो जब भगवान के बाप बन सकते हो? Why would you want to be God when you can be the father of God?" Yes? Nanda Maharaj is Krishna's dad. Nanda Baba is telling Krishna, "Krishna, you are going out into the pasturing grounds with the calves, but don't go into the bull pen." And Krishna says, "Why, Baba? Children you tell them don't do that. They're like, why? Is there something interesting in there? Why, Baba?" And Baba says, "Well, some of the bulls are, they're really nasty. So they may not like you. And they could hurt you." "Really, Baba?" And then Krishna says, "Baba, please show me which bull will do that." And he pulls Baba with his hands. He brings Nanda Maharaj to the bull pen. And he says, "Which one is that, Baba?" And now Nanda Maharaj to say something, right? So he looks around and he says, "That one." And that one was the angriest of the lot. Sometimes bulls they have this really big male ego. And one amongst them considers himself to be the king of the mafia don. So Nanda Baba says, "That one." Krishna says, "Baba, but that bull must not be afraid of you, right?" And Nanda Baba is like, "Yes, but I am big, you are small. When you become as big as me, then that bull will treat you with respect too." Did you understand this, Krishna? Kanhaiya says, "So Baba, if I am with you, then nothing will happen, right?" "Krishna, did you understand what I am telling you? You should not come to this bull pen." Krishna says, "Baba, why don't you and I go to the bull right now? I'm not afraid. I have you with me. I'm not afraid. You are my dad." Little boys, they consider their father to always be
The hero.
Shaktiman, the hero,
Shaktiman.
like Superman. "Baba, you're like, but you're there. I'm not afraid. Let's go." But Nanda Maharaj, he thought that this is not wise, so he said, "No, Kana, we are not going to go into the bullpen right now. Let's go back. Let's go. It's time for prasad." So Mother Yashoda is weeping. The next morning, Nanda Baba comes to the bullpen, and who does he find in the pen? Krishna. And where is Krishna? He is with that bull. And what is he doing?
Riding on it.
No, he's not riding on the bull. The bull is still sitting on the ground, and Krishna is sitting on the head of the bull. He's like put his riding the bull in one sense, its head, but the bull is still sitting there. And the bull is going like this, and it's like happily rolling its head. And Nanda Baba comes there and he gives huge gasp like, "Oh, Kana!" And Kana said, "Baba, I told him that if you do any mischief, I'll tell Baba." My Baba will come and punish you. And just see, the bull understands. This bull understands. Baba, you're really great. Do you know, Baba, in the scriptures it is said, my name is as powerful as I am, actually your name is also as powerful as you are. Just by taking your name, the bull was subjugated. The bull is behaving in such a mild manner. So if one can be so intimate with Krishna, why does one have to be God? Because the desire to enjoy, considering ourselves to be the master and lord of all that we survey, is so deeply rooted, it is not within our consciousness, that unless and until we in a very humble, sincere manner chant Krishna's holy names, it becomes difficult to uproot that desire. Just one simple name of Krishna with utter sincerity if chanted, uproots unlimited desires and nullifies mountains of sins. We need to have faith and association to be able to do that. Just faith won't work in our case because our mind is so unstable, it is so flickering. So we need to be in good association. And in good association, being inspired by that association, with our minds focused on Krishna, if we chant the names of Krishna, then Krishna very mercifully will grace us with His presence. We have to be convinced by that. The pastimes of Krishna are very attractive. The realizations of devotees are very, very interesting. We have to write our own story in this lifetime. And we have to pen down a successful story. It may be a story that is known to the world, or maybe not. Doesn't really matter. Our fight against a life-threatening disease that gets us out of the hospital, whether it becomes worldwide news or it gets buried, doesn't matter as long as we are cured and we are out of the hospital. This material world is a diseased place. And the disease is lust, pride, greed, anger, envy, illusion. You don't even have to do anything to become ill. You're already sick. It's so difficult to be honest in our practices. It is so easy to give into anger, to give into lust, to give into greed. It is so easy to fall for that. It is so difficult to stay away from these obstacles, these distractions. It is so easy to stay away from sincerely chanting Krishna's names. It is so difficult to surrender to the process of purification. This is called conditioning. लेकिन कभी कभी सेल आता है, ब्लैक फ्राइडे सेल, so this is the time where we have been offered sale prices. Just give one lifetime to Krishna. Dance and madness to your heart's content. Take selfies with the deities if you want to. See the beautiful forms. See how wonderfully they're decorated. Participate in the festivals that are performed for the deities. Eat sumptuous prasadam. Eat to your heart's delight. Listen to the beautiful pastimes of Krishna and relish them. And just one simple task, which is difficult, but just that one task, that little difficult task we have to perform. Chant Krishna's names with sincerity. Krishna, here I am fallen in this darkness of ignorance. You are the supremely merciful and compassionate Lord. Please pick me up from this deep dark well of material existence and place me at your lotus feet. I promise you, I will always serve you and be happy serving you. That is my true nature. That is what I really want. So Krishna, please help me do that. So that is the sale right now. No need to do hundreds of years of sacrifices, austerities, charity. None of that. No need to be very well versed in scriptures, enunciate the mantras properly. None of that is really necessary. What is necessary is that attempt, that sincere attempt, that complete faith. You know, just as we have that faith when we see a samosa, a really piping hot samosa being served, you know how much faith we have. This is the samosa that I want. Please, no one disturb me right now. व्यवसाय आत्मिका बुद्धि एके हर कुरु नंदना. You know, we have that. We have the potential within us. All we need to do is take the samosa and put it in Krishna's hands. Let that samosa be in Krishna's hands. And let the faith flow towards Krishna. There's no need to give up the samosa. We are not negativists. We don't want to just, it has never been prescribed that one should torture oneself. But please keep Krishna in focus. And see everything in relationship to Krishna. The samosa in Krishna's hands. That's it. That's all we have to do. I'm not sure how you can have your cell phone with WhatsApp on it in Krishna's hands. Not really sure about that. But definitely, all that is favorable, we can use it to serve Krishna and to make a life successful. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your class. Very wonderful.
Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Time for we have time. Just I have one question. Like curiosity. Very wonderful class. And basically, I know you are the medical science and studying the medical science. So medical science is very demand in India, not only in the whole of the world. And you give up that and come to Krishna consciousness. What is the key point to attack in this Krishna consciousness and give up to your medical science?
So it seems that many times the general populace feels that dedicating one's life to Krishna completely versus the energy and time one has spent in becoming a successful professional in this world, maybe a doctor or an engineer or an artist. How does one give up such lucrative positions in the material world to take up to Krishna consciousness full time? Is that a question?
Yeah.
My only regret is that I couldn't take up Krishna consciousness earlier. And my immense gratitude to Srila Prabhupada is that at least he considered me fit to be a recipient of Krishna consciousness even after I spent my time and energy in pursuing material degree. He still felt that I could be a recipient. So I'm eternally grateful to Srila Prabhupada for welcoming me personally allowing me to be a part of his mission. Other than that, I have no other realization on this matter. However, whenever professionals in a professional circle, when I'm asked this question, my answer is all of my counselors, my advisors, my well-wishers who helped me finish my medical degree, I'm so grateful to them. However, my biggest gratitude is to Srila Prabhupada, who made me realize that a career of a spiritual doctor is valuable too. So I felt that Srila Prabhupada he helped me realize that our career choices need not necessarily be that which is defined by society. And spiritual health is of immense concern in today's times, more than one's emotional health too. Because spiritual health, if disturbed, not only affects us, but its ramifications can be felt throughout the planet. Not understanding the connection of every element in this world to Krishna leaves it open to exploitation. And such exploitation is so rampantly being seen in the world today. My friend for almost 25 years now, whenever possible, he tries to not use public transport or any kind of transport. Like in Mumbai, sometimes if he has time, if he has about an hour at his disposal, then he would walk from the railway station to the temple, which is practically, I think, about 12 kilometers away. And he still does that. This was many years ago. I asked him that, he's a very reasonable person. Everything that he does is with a purpose. So I asked him that, what does this serve? And he said that at least I am not contributing unnecessarily to the exploitation of Mother Earth. She is the consort of Varahadev. So I said, what would your little attempt, how would it help? So he told me the story of the starfish. Do you know the story about the starfish? Somehow, because of certain conditions on a particular beach, hundreds and thousands of starfishes just were being thrown out of the ocean, and they were landing on the beach, and they're practically dying. Now, starfishes, their structure is such that if you try to touch them with your naked hands, you get pricked. They have prickles, and sometimes it's very painful. Always it's very painful. So one gentleman was trying as much as he could to pick up one starfish at a time and throw it back into the ocean. And when he would throw it back into the ocean, a couple of waves later, the starfish would again be thrown out. There was something going on. So the villagers, the local people in the village who were all fishermen, they came up to him and they started laughing at him. What is the use? There are thousands of starfishes here. How many can you save? And even if you try to save, the tides are again throwing them out. So how does it help? It's practically useless. Why are you wasting your time? It doesn't really matter. So this gentleman, he still picked up another starfish and he threw it into the ocean. He said, well, it matters to that starfish.
Yes.
It matters to that starfish. So, there are so many people who are being churned out through these factories called medical colleges. And each one of them, every single one of them who's been through those factories, every single one of them has spoiled their health already. Every single student that goes through that excruciating 7 to 10 years of medical school comes out with terrible damage to their internal system. Either they get addicted to, they start abusing substances because that's how they can keep up. There's so much of pressure. Mentally they're affected, psychologically they're scarred for life. And such well-trained personnel, when they come out, a lot of them, they simply fall prey to the world of exploitation around them and they participate in it. Unfortunately. Within the training system, they are spoiling their health, and without, they fall prey to the big agenda that's in the outside world. the various companies, various unions, the political agendas that are there. So in that scenario, if someone could realize, if is able to realize, a few of them still say, try to stay sane. There's some sanity in a few of them. None of the doctors that come out, I'm sorry if I'm making this statement, it's going online, I could be sued for this. None of the doctors that are trained in such institutes would ever tell you that this medicine that we are giving to you, that we are recommending to you, this treatment will cure you for life. It's not possible. They may not be able to say it, or they will not say it. But one recommendation they are always going to give you, most of them, majority of them, that is, doesn't matter whatever happens, I'm here to take care of you. You can keep on coming to me, becoming diseased, become sick, have regular visits. It keeps paying off my bills. Your regular visits pays off my bills. And it's true of not just doctors, but lawyers, engineers, pharmacists, even janitors. It's a world of exploitation. You get exploited and then you exploit someone else. I'll give you a very simple example about this from India. In India, the railway system, the railway transport system is really good. It's overburdened. It's very extensive. I think it is the most extensive railway system in the entire world. The biggest in the entire world. And it functions. So you can book your seats. You can actually reserve your berth. If you are traveling a long distance, you could have an entire berth to yourself. So look at the world of the exploiters and the exploited. If you do not have a reserved seat, then you are at the mercy of the traveling passengers. Such a humble disposition is taken up in that situation. Please, it's an emergency. Somebody is dying in your family. Generally, that is the emergency. It may be true, it may not be true. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you really seek some comfort there. Another scenario, some days later, you have a reserved seat. And there's another person that comes to you who's in a similar situation. And your first response is, "Hum nahi jante kya jhoot bol rahe ho." We know very well that you're making excuses. How do we know that? We were at one point in a situation where we had to beg, and now it is difficult for us to give back in charity. It's a world, this is how the material world is. This is literally the material world. If some of you here know our host, Ashwini ji, I mean many of you, all of you know, but some of you really know. गुप्ता साहब थोड़ा सा हमारे लिए अलग से रख देना। गुप्ता साहब तो हाँ जी आप तो खास हैं हमारे। What can you do? What can you do? This is how everything functions here. Now sometimes it is healthy relationship, many a times it is very corrosive. It corrodes our integrity. Now in this setup, if one gets a chance to be a spiritual practitioner, to be a spiritual engineer, to be a spiritual doctor, to be a spiritual janitor, that's just pure mercy. Right? And if one can realize that actually there's a career in full-time volunteership also, in full-time volunteering oneself full-time for services, that is also a respectable career. There's nothing wrong with that. So please, don't be surprised if someone is accepting a full-time position. It's nothing great. वो जो है ना आदमी, especially I'm speaking about me, वो ऐसा है जैसे कि 100 चूहे खाकर बिल्ली हज को गई. You've heard this saying before? Yes. This decision should have been taken millions of birds ago. It has happened now. Hopefully, this life will be successful. So please don't be surprised at anything. If we want to be really surprised and amazed, then we must be amazed about Krishna's qualities. And for that, we have to hear about Krishna. Yes? And Rupa Goswami, he says, Priya, dhyana dena. Ma prekshithas tavasakha yadi. Don't try to look at Krishna, my dear friend, if bandhu sangaste ranga. If you have attachment to anyone or any object in this material world, please don't try to search out for Krishna, and please don't see his form. Because once having seen his form, you will be completely detached from everything else in this material world. That's how powerful it is. Krishna's form is like hitting the jackpot at the lottery. You get $100 million and more. So the whole credit goes to our acharyas. It goes to our spiritual masters. They helped us understand Krishna in a manner which is easy for us. Srila Prabhupada, he spent so much of time and energy writing his purports, his explanations. And he was asked, sometimes he would not be able to translate much. And they would ask him, so you did not translate much today. Is there a reason? And he said, because I have to crack my head to come up with a translation that you would be able to understand. I have to literally crack my head to do that. Sorry for making the whole atmosphere so sober and serious. But on another note, I get free food, I get free accommodation, I have more Facebook friends ever, more than I could have ever made even as a doctor. And most importantly, there's a lot of dakshina that comes in. Where is the loss? So please choose your careers carefully.
But
That's on a very humorous note. As I said, this is going online, so somebody can just cut, paste, whatever. I'll be sued.
so probably how we use like in Krishna consciousness, like whatever we do in job, how we engage in Krishna service. Like say if you are a doctor or you are an engineer, right?
Yes.
Then you could have used in Krishna service, like
Yes.
where they from there, right?
That is true. Everything can be used in Krishna's service. But if you have sufficient number of people doing that, then it's all right to have an alternative career too. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So there are hundreds of doctors that are giving Krishna along with good health. It's always all right for one person to just give Krishna. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Like thousands of graduates come out of a professional college. One of them may become a professor in that college to teach generations of students again who will graduate as professionals. So it's not a loss to the professional industry when one of them decides to become a teacher. Is that all right? Anything else? If there's anything else, I'm on WhatsApp, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. None of that. Okay. If you want to follow me, this is how I look from the back. You can always follow. So we can stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.